Hello and welcome. Thanks for joining us for Agile Scrum Sessions with Dr. Jeff Sutherland. Increasing process efficiency is one of the most important metrics in Scrum, and in today's session, he shares how it pairs perfectly with value stream management. Let's join in. Talk to us about value stream management. What is it and why is it important in today's business climate?
Well, value stream management is important. We have to go back to the roots of Scrum. So back in 1993, when the first Scrum team was started up, we read a paper by Takeuchi Tanaka called The New Product Development Game. And in that paper, they created the term Scrum Project Management. And we decided to use that name. And that paper was based on lean hardware companies, the best performing teams all over the world in lean hardware companies. Once we took that name, we realized that everything in lean was relevant to Scrum. And value stream mapping is a tool that's used in lean processing. This was further validated back in 2016 when a senior manager of one of the biggest companies in Japan came to Boston and visited with me, and he wanted to start a joint venture in Tokyo called Scrum Inc. Japan. And for the reason being that his company was a major shareholder was Toyota. They were going to be the trainers for Toyota, and the Scrum training at the time was not adequate to take a really good lean company like Toyota and take them to the next level. So we worked with the Japanese on what would be needed to transform our Scrum training into something that would enable Toyota to get twice the work in half the time. And it turned out there were four major components. Basically the Scrum itself, the Scrum guide, but the second component was basic lean tooling. And value stream mapping was one of them. Now I can go on further in that because value stream mapping is related to process efficiency, which is one of the leading metrics at Toyota. And process efficiency is the actual work time divided by the clock time. And if you make process efficiency higher, there was a very good paper written some years ago by a lean company in Europe showing that if you increase the process efficiency of a story in a Scrum backlog to over 50%, that means that the actual work time is no more than half the clock time. That 100% of the teams would double their velocity. Okay, so process efficiency is extremely important for high performance. Now, when you extend that idea out to the whole time between you have an idea and then you're shipping a product, getting the process efficiency of that whole chain of events is what we call value stream analysis. We need to analyze the steps that go into creating the value and make sure that the clock time is as short as possible to increase the process efficiency, which in my view is the most important metric in Scrum.
How is value stream management relevant to different levels of an organization? For example, the C-suite management or teams.
Well, one of the biggest challenges, let's say you're using Scrum in an IT group and you actually get twice the work in half the time, so you're going 4 times faster, but then at the front end, the actual requirements creation is not fast enough to feed the team. And so even though the team could go 4 times faster, they're actually going like a tenth of the speed that they could go because they don't have enough input. Similarly, on the back end, if you have a testing group that is bottlenecking the delivery, even though the IT team is going really fast, they only can deliver as slow as the testing team is slow. So understanding this whole chain is what value stream mapping is about. And the only people that can fix this is the executive team. They have to actually change the organization to remove these bottlenecks.
Value stream management is usually discussed in the context of lean. Does someone have to be proficient in lean management to get value out of value stream management?
Well, it definitely applies. In our Scrum training, we teach a simple way for a Scrum Master to think through a value stream, to calculate a process efficiency, and he does not have to be a deeply trained lean expert. Just understanding some of the simple principles can enable a Scrum Master to do a pretty good job.
Why and/or how does Scrum complement value stream management?
Well, one of the issues with lean, as we learned from our European lean company that went to Scrum, is lean is really good for efficiency, but it's not very good for rapid change to meet the market demands for product. It's not very good for really rapid new product creation. And Scrum is designed for that. So today we work regularly with Professor Nanaka, who wrote the first paper on Scrum. And he is writing a book on the U.S. Marines. And the U.S. Marines has adopted another core idea, which we teach in our Scrum training, called the OODA loop, the Observe, Orient, Decide, Act loop, which was created by the world's greatest fighter pilot and taught to all the war colleges. And it basically is a rapid response program for a changing environment. And Professor Nanaka, after studying that, and having spent years studying Toyota is based on what's called the PDCA cycle, the Plan, Do, Check, Act cycle, which is built into a Scrum sprint. But this OODA loop is changing what the team is doing based on what's happening in real time, okay? And Nanaka says today that is more important to Toyota than the PDCA cycle. The OODA loop is the key to future success of Toyota. So what Scrum does is it creates the OODA loop on top of the lean PDCA cycle to enable Toyota to innovate faster. Okay, so it's really critical. And you can see that because today Tesla creates a new product feature, a new change. They'll do small changes. They'll do 20 of those in a week in actual production on the assembly line. They'll actually change the hardware, change the software, 20 new features a week on the average, whereas the traditional automobile companies might do one a year. So Tesla is 1,000 times faster than a traditional auto company, and as a result, their market capitalization for their stock is 4 times the capitalization of Toyota. They could just buy Toyota with 25% of their stock. So that speed is absolutely critical today. Speed of innovation, okay? It's not so much speed of development, which is really important, but it's the speed of change, the ability to innovate faster. And understanding things like value stream mapping and then layering on the tooling in Scrum on top of that is what enables companies like Toyota and other lean companies to be successful in the future in the face of a rapidly changing technology environment, with companies like Tesla who are innovating 1,000 times faster than the rest of the industry.
What are some warning signs that an organization might need this?
So for example, when you introduce a Scrum team into a company, very often when they're starting off, they have the testing people separate from the Scrum team. And we can tell them right away that is going to radically reduce the process efficiency. And a simple value stream map with just development and testing calculating the timing is going to show you that the testing, and we see in hardware companies, particularly hardware software companies, you can go over 20 times slower because the testing is not integrated with the development. And so a good Scrum Master understanding these basic principles in starting up a team knows right away if the testers are not part of the team and all the testing is not done at the end of the sprint, that is going to be really, really slow, okay? Because he understands process efficiency and value stream mapping.
Any closing thoughts you'd like to share?
Well, one of the examples we used in the course came from Henrik Nyberg on a gaming company in Sweden. And when they looked at all the things that the company was losing revenue, and they were because their competitors were building games faster, and it would take them typically 2 years from a new idea to a game entering the market. It would be a 2-year time frame. So their competition was really killing them. And when they created a totally integrated team, instead of having 8 different teams to roll out a game, one team focused on one game. They were actually able to cut that 8 years down to 2 months. And the way they figured it out was doing a value stream map of what's going on. So this is extremely important. And what we're telling people today is, the Scrum Guide by itself is critical. You need to have those pieces. But unless you understand some of the lean principles, you cannot execute Scrum well, and you certainly will never get twice the work in half the time, which is what our Scrum book is about, right?